How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with The Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at a brand new horror movie, essentially the first one of the year, and that is Night Swim from Blumhouse. This was just released January 5th, 2024. And yeah, Blumhouse, you're putting your summer fun horror movie in January when it's freaking cold outside. Okay, less competition, I guess I get it. This is directed by Bryce McGuire, based on a short 4-minute horror film that he made about 10 years ago. Now, the short also featured another co-director, but he apparently doesn't show up for this, so okay. The movie stars Wyatt Russell, Kurt Russell's son, that's always pretty cool, Kerry, Condon, and Amelie Hirosh. Now, this is produced by James Wan under his Atomic Monsters banner, and that's pretty cool. Wan did a bunch of cool stuff, and now he also produces a lot. Now, I saw the trailer for this, and the trailer kind of being just that one scene, the pretty cool scene with the daughter and her boyfriend in the pool. I saw the trailer and I thought it looked pretty cool. And this is based on a short, like Lights Out was. Short films being expanded into full films, that's cool as well. And I know it's a January film, but I thought, hey, Megan, January last year, that turned out pretty good. Studios are taking more advantage of January. So I had a little bit of hopes, and then I heard the initial reviews, and yeah, there's been quite a few savage critics. That, combined with me getting pretty sick this January, I don't know if you could hear it in some of my past reviews, but I was under the weather for quite some time. So in turn, I know I'm a little late to the party here on this one, but I did finally get a chance to see it. And yeah, it doesn't quite work. Now, it does have its moments. Wyatt Russell is giving a good performance. He's a very charismatic actor. It's always good to see him. And we do get some fun shots, in particular underwater photography, which is always nice. And to be fair, the movie does have some moments, and it's not terrible. It's not great either, and I would say if you get to see the movie for cheap, like if there's a cheap day in the theater, if you find it streaming, if you can find it where you don't have to pay too much money, it's okay, but not great and just constantly doesn't work. And when I say, oh, it's a Blumhouse movie that doesn't really work, you might think something like Truth or Dare. But it's not really. It's not dumb movie with cheesy jump scares. It's a movie that is trying. They're essentially trying to make the Amityville Horror, but in a pool. And yeah, no, it doesn't quite work. And there's a few reasons for that. One is the scares are kind of all over the place. You know, you get these repetitive scares that really let you know that it was based on a short film, the pool lights flickering on and off, thinking you hear someone's voice, and then this scare where it's like you're underwater and you think you see someone out there, and then you go up and they're not there. They did that a few times, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if you do this same scare again, freaking lose it. But yeah, it gets a little repetitive, but also it doesn't have proper scaling. You're supposed to have simmering scares, and then they start to boil, and then the ending's supposed to be crazy. This movie has some big moments that come in the middle. Like if you saw the trailer, you saw the Get Out shot where they're drugged ridiculously far and they see the pool way up in the distance. It's a cool shot. That's like in the middle of the movie. It's like either you put this at the beginning as a hook piece, or you put it in the third act to show that things are big and crazy. But to put it in the middle is just weird, and then to spoil it in your trailer, it is the worst way you could have used this shot. And also, freaking in the middle of the movie, big EC comic zombie just swimming in the pool. It's like, what is this guy doing in a serious movie? If he had showed up in Creepshow, I would have been like, oh cool, this is fun. But it's like, dude, what are you doing here? Again, doesn't work. Also, the characters, like Wyatt Russell's character, is given a little bit to work with, but not near as much as he should have. The rest of the family, we just want to solve the mystery. the characters are super flat and wooden, and I need to care about them for the scares to work so that I have more tension. And also the plot. The plot just give me a trail to work with. You have to give me something where I can say, okay, we're going that way, this is the direction of the movie. But in turn, it seems like random pool nonsense, and I'm watching this movie going, where the heck are we going with this, guys? And then it's just dumped out in this big explanation dump, and it makes sense once you hear it, but gee, have you heard of giving us little pieces at a time, pointing us in the right direction so we know what's happening in the movie? It's just aimless stuff with scares that are also aimless and characters that are wooden. It doesn't work, and it had me looking at this and going like, okay, we have a pool party sequence that happens way too late in the movie, because if you're so scared, why would you have people over for a pool party? Push that to the beginning. The cool scene with the daughter and the boyfriend, that's pretty big. Push it more towards the end. And in turn, I'm here in my head just basically like rewriting this movie and trying to get it to work. And it is this thing where, like, if the script just had another pass at it, is someone just looked at it and said, why? And it's just one of those things where it's hard to believe it got off the ground in the state it did, because it was an unfocused mess. And like I said, Wyatt Russell, some cool shots, underwater moments, and a few scares that work. There was something there. It just didn't fire. Let's go ahead and talk a bit about the plot. I don't want to do any major spoilers. I do want to break down and analyze this movie in some specifics. I don't have to go to the end to do that, but let's do a bit of a digging deeper section. We open up with Prologue Girl, and the prologue is the chance to hook you, and it doesn't quite work. Prologue Girl has a sick brother, and she sees his toy, a red boat floating in the pool. And she feels compelled, for some reason, to get the boat toy out of the pool in the middle of the freaking night. Whatever, nonsense leading into your hook is always great. But the boat toy will float up and down, and we know it's a ghost doing it, but it still feels silly when it pops up and it's like, I'm the boat! And then she gets pulled into the pool. And it's not violent, and you don't see like a ghost hand or anything. So in turn, when she gets pulled into the pool, and when she gets tugged up and down, it just seems silly, like, I'm in the pool! You know, make it violent and terrifying, or show us a creature doing it. But when she just goes whoop into the pool, not scary. And then she gets drug away. I think it's the whole case of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, where, if you remember that movie, if characters disappear, you can get your PG-13 rating. But wouldn't it be so much better and scarier if she was found floating dead in the pool? All that beside the point, that was a long time ago. Now we're going to meet the new family that moves into the house. We get Wyatt Russell. He's a professional baseball player who got sick and he can't play anymore. They're looking to rent a house, but they find a good house for sale to buy. And the wife says, I want to settle down roots. We moved around way too much when you were a professional. We need to just establish our new life, and plus this house is a pool. Swimming, good, low-impact exercise. You can do it and recover. Cool, great. Well, Wyatt Russell, they're fixing the pool up, and he finds that it's connected to a natural spring. And in turn, the water's supposed to have some healing properties, and he cuts his hand and it like heals really, really fast, and he starts to think, I can get better, I can do this. But of course, he's being a little bit obsessed with the pool, and scary stuff starts to happen. As I talked about the scares earlier, I don't need to go into them too much again, but like I said, super repetitive stuff, and just kind of all over the place. And yeah, they'll have a pool party even after some characters are suspicious, because we have to rewrite the whole story to be about the pool. Whatever. Scares start to happen. Wyatt Russell's too obsessed, and they start to realize something is happening. And I'll go into the characters now because, yeah, they don't quite work. Wyatt Russell, the idea with his character is that he was too obsessed with something that's taken away from him and he can't learn to move on. It is very poorly explained this way, because if they had shown him going after baseball too much and sacrificing more than he should, that would have worked and that would explain it. And there is one story that they tell later on about the birth of his first daughter that illustrates it, but way too far on. Like, we see him getting better, and as an audience we're supposed to go, oh no, he'll fall into temptation, but all we see is, oh, Wyatt Russell's getting better, that's great. So that's not defined right. And all the other characters don't have much to work with. The wife wants to solve the mystery and wants everything to be happy, and so does the daughter, so it's repetitive. And the daughter, to be honest, doesn't have that many important scenes. There's a scene where she's with her boyfriend in the pool, which is scary, but I couldn't help but think if you rewrote her character to be a babysitter, you could have had her in the movie less because she really doesn't have much to do, and she would have got just as much done as she does now. And then the son is the most underdeveloped because he's supposed to be a dork that can't do sports right and has no friends. But he seems to get along with people. I mean, when his friends show up to the party, his friends show up. And like when they show him hit the ball in baseball, it's not a great hit, but he does hit it. They don't do a good job of illustrating him being an incompetent dork. And that's the problem. The movie is supposed to have this theme where Wyatt Russell had the abilities, but because of his sickness has no potential. Contrast that with his son, who has all the potential, but doesn't have any abilities and is constantly screwing that up. That's supposed to be the character dynamic where you're supposed to get the tension from this relationship, but because neither one of these characters is worked out as good as it should be, and most of the time we just hear like a passing line of dialogue to explain that instead of giving us examples and scenes that do, we don't get this at all. So that in turn, the main character focus of this movie is way too subdued, and also none of the characters have anything particularly interesting to do. It was kind of frustrating, not gonna lie. But anyway, blah blah, repetitive scares leading to a fun enough ending. Overall, this movie is a case that it had some moments, it had a few ideas, but man, did it need a major restructuring. It's one of these cases where I see a movie like this getting made and I'm like, how did no one along the way go, okay, we have some ideas here, but the puzzle pieces are not put in the right order? It's just one of those, like, how did they not catch that this isn't working earlier on? And I don't know, maybe and it just, like I said, not the worst thing ever, but none of the pieces really go right, you know? Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Blumhouse playlist where you can see me review other Blumhouse movies like, say, last year's Megan. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.